Good evening, everybody. Busy day today. I'm going to need a second to make sure that everything's tagged up properly, and then we can jump straight into the game. Given the time, I don't know if I'm going to want to end early, or if I'm going to just kind of take a small break to do my usual data thing and then broadcast. Hello. Why aren't you... Okay, there we go. Yeah, so the deal is I tried to get started as quickly as I could. Apologies for those of you who don't follow on Twitter. I completely get it that, just because just because you watch a channel doesn't mean that you want to follow the full feed for what's going on. But yeah, it was a very full day today, and I had a couple things that I wanted to get through before I started the stream, as well as dinner. So, hang on, what's going on here? Right. Okay, anyways, again, I thought I was ready to start, but apparently I wasn't. So the deal is I had some stuff that I needed to get through. I was hoping to sort of start before 9. And again, for those of you who expect a regular start time, I do apologize for not being a little more consistent than I should be, but hopefully things are going to be sort of winding down a little bit for me. There's going to be another set of things that I need to start doing, but hopefully I can sort of find a slightly better balance between kind of my me time and then broadcast time. I really do feel like I could use a nap, but if I do that, I'm probably not going to be starting to stream until midnight. So the deal for tonight is going to be this. I need to... What? Okay. Yeah, so the deal here is that I'm going to either take a small break to do some data stuff or end early. And it sort of, I guess it kind of depends how much I think I can kind of get through tonight. I want to try again and do as much of a full stream as I can. But it does, I do need to, one, take care of myself, and two, I also need to take care of some of my obligations. Other than that, one of the things that I was working on before I started the broadcast, there is something that I wanted to do over a year ago now, and it involved a bit of spending in terms of content creation. And I ultimately didn't pull the trigger on it because the work situation arguably wasn't any better than it is now, or it wasn't any worse than it is now. But I was really feeling uncertain as to whether or not I would be able to sort of stay where I was and, as a consequence, sort of have a constant stream of income. And I think I mostly hit the point where, one, I still had the money set aside, and then number two, I sort of recognized I'm probably always going to feel that way. And so I'm not quite ready to say what it is, but there's kind of two things that I'm going to be doing with that. So number one, I feel like it's going to be enabling sort of a new set of activities for me. And I'm probably going to need to do some more setup. So there's a few things that I'd kind of like to do in terms of my overall setup. I rent, I don't own a place. So the idea of sort of having a dedicated space to do streams or to do, audio recordings or something like that, if I could, it would be nice to sort of put up some degree of sort of soundproofing, just generally to improve the overall quality. I have a nice enough microphone. There's certainly better ones out there, but I don't think the complaint has ever been about the audio quality. But just little things like the way that the room sounds. There's ways that that can be improved, and then I could stand to understand audio engineering a little bit better. Um, and then, of course, there's also the ideas of doing, video editing, trying to do something that's maybe a little bit more polished, a little bit more edited, and that through a few different means is becoming closer to a reality, but I still need to sort of decide what the best use of my time is along those lines. And then the other thing is, because I have put some money into this, in the end, it's kind of on me to make this work. And I have, it's not just content creation that will be trying to pay the bills. I do also intend to try and offer a few more of my data services and be a little bit more active in terms of not just sort of doing volunteer stuff, but doing the sort of thing that I feel it would be reasonable to charge for. Not a lot, but just kind of do a couple of things that I think I can do on a regular basis, that I can sort of demonstrate the value to a firm for doing. And more importantly, to do so at a price that doesn't limit it just to big players. So, like, one of the things I kind of feel about game data is that you've got independent game developers. They are strapped for time. They're strapped for money. There's a lot of things that they want to try and do. And I'm not crazy about the idea of saying that, well, because because you're not a sufficiently large team, or because you didn't go and do a statistics course, when you were in school, maybe you never went to school at all. You are now condemned to, to like not just not have information that will help you make sound financial or business decisions, right? I don't think that means that I should work for free. I think there's a reasonable middle ground for saying, here's a service that I can provide, but this is going to be a very narrow this is going to be like a very narrow sort of service that I provide that is sort of like what a larger developer might want to do. And here's the price. One of the things I was sort of thinking was, just be upfront in terms of what the price is, but also just kind of include, it's like, I've got a, needs based, exception or whatever. So anyways, with all of that in mind, I'm trying to think of some things that people would enjoy, but also be willing to, pay up for. I still have the feeling that, so it's kind of similar to what I talked about a little bit before. My view is, I want to, I'll keep doing what I'm doing, at this rate, right? So if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can subscribe to the channel, you get emotes and so on and so forth. And if you want to watch for free, that's totally fine, right? That's the way that this works. But what I'm hoping to try and do is think of a few more sort of premium things that I can do for people that will help me kind of cover the costs of this extra stuff. And that maybe once, I think the idea that I was going to have is that once my costs have kind of been covered for this investment, to make the sort of whatever surplus I can make for that month past, covering my costs, make that sort of publicly available. So in this case here, it's not just that people are, getting a little something for themselves. They're actually sort of voting for what they want to see more of. And, that's maybe not a bad way of trying to get an indication in terms of what my highest productivity activity is, right? Because, for me, given my preferences, I'd love to write, I'd love to do some data stuff. I'm probably I don't really rate my broadcasting all that high. But the fact remains that the largest audience remains for the Twitch stuff. And I kind of need to acknowledge that, and I also need to see what it is. And then, of course, there's people who I really respect. So, there's a writer who I really, really like, and they did say that, if I can do data stuff within 1,000 words for an article, that is probably their preferred, type of thing that I do. And I value that kind of feedback very highly. Not least of which because, I really like this person's work. So it actually means a lot to me to hear that any of this stuff is appreciated. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of these ways of me trying to, like, I've decided it's worth putting the time, it's worth putting the money into the stream. But the expectation for me now is to find a way of supporting that, and that can be through partnering with developers. I do have, so it's been true for the past year. I have actually been getting paid to do things for developers, which is nice. Not on the Twitch channel. They've always been for other other activities, but if I can give myself more opportunities to do that sort of thing, if I can do it faster, and if I can do a higher quality of it, again, all of that kind of goes into covering these tools, and I'll have the tools, right? It's kind of like if you, how I could put it to you this way, like if you have a coffee shop, right? You're going to be paying the rent on the coffee shop every month. And then there's going to be a certain number of hours that you stay open because either A, you can be awake and working effectively at that number of hours, or B, more likely, you're able to hire people and essentially they will, the service that they provide will be earning more than it costs to sort of keep them going, which of course means that it's worth it to keep the shop open. It's like, obviously, if you open a coffee shop and you go 24 hours, but from, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you sell exactly one cup of coffee, there's no point in keeping it open. At that point, you're probably not even covering the electricity bill. If you get a few cups a day, for a few cups an hour, sure, you're probably starting to pay for your staff. But yeah, for me, I mean, the money's already spent. So in this case here, every minute that I can put that thing towards some kind of productive use, even if it's just making, more videos, even if they're ones that are just sort of given away, I'm making the most of the investment. But, again, the expectation is that I got this thing so that I can do work with it. And that work does include streaming, as long as it continues to pay me. Anyways, that was a longer chat than I wanted it to be, but it does give me a chance to kind of let everybody run in. We are going to do some more Cyberpunk tonight. There's actually a lot of stuff that I have available to me now. I did buy myself some toys. I got the new DLC for MechWarrior 5. I feel like that game's a little underrated. I kind of understand people's complaints about it feeling a bit samey after a while. But I also feel like that complaint is overblown. And of course, I have the DLC now. The DLC have some focused storylines, so I'm not as affected by that. And then I am still subscribed to EA Play. I will confess I've been starting to wonder whether or not I want to hang on to that, because the third-party stuff's been sort of going away, and as much as I love EA games, the stuff that's kind of come out on the premium side hasn't quite made it worth it to me. But it's also true that they've got some good stuff in the pipeline, so new Star Wars game, for instance. And I quite like Battlefield. Like, the new one didn't quite do the trick. I actually really liked the sort of the Tarkov sort of inspired mode, but it seems like I was the only one, because that mode is no longer in the game. Like nobody was playing it. Um, so yeah, I think they've been revising that particular game very heavily. But I suspect probably I will be returning to the Battlefield franchise when the next one comes out. I believe Ripple Effect is now sort of running things there. I think that's Vince Sampala is running that now. Anyways, Vince Sampala, I believe, is also still doing Respawn, so I have no idea how that guy manages two very talented and probably teams with a lot of pressure on them. But let's face it, the EA definitely does not have a shortage of talent there. But in any case, so yeah, with that in mind, the big release, Dead Space. I have played Dead Space before. It's been a while though, and from what I hear, the remaster is supposed to be pretty good. I didn't do it tonight because it really does not feel like, I don't know, like I don't really feel like I kind of think everybody's going to be playing that, so I can leave it aside. And then of course, with all of that in mind, so I got the new MechWarrior DLC. I've got the access to Dead Space, but I also really want to get back to Against the Storm. But especially when I'm feeling a little sleepy, stuff that I can play on autopilot. Well, I can't exactly play Cyberpunk on autopilot, but I think you get what I mean. Like something that isn't quite as strategy focused tends to fit the bill. And frankly, I've been really enjoying Cyberpunk. So it's a little different from what I was expecting, let's say. I was expecting a little bit more along the I don't know, just kind of along the lines of the first few streams that we did of it. But I have been enjoying it. And I mean, more importantly, too, just having a few people run in, like, K-Money, who did a Cyberpunk-themed game in the sense of Shadowrun. That was a nice little conversation. So there's definitely some things that I've been enjoying about this. I may need to make some more tea. Now, I was actually running around as a street kid for a bit. So, where's Mike Corpo? There we go.
Howdy, howdy, Night City. Welcome back. My guest tonight is Lieutenant Sarah Kukowski, spokeswoman for the NCPD.
Now, before I go too much further, it is worth mentioning. Hang on. I can't remember if I turned off the... Ooh. That would have been a bad mistake. But yeah, before I go too far, it is worth remembering that I was given a key for this back in ye olde days. Actually, I'm wondering why the volume is so low. My God, why is it so slow? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so back when this came out, I was given a key from GOG. They would like me to remind you that it is available on GOG.com, and they would like you to buy it there. It's one of the rare cases where I've been sort of asked to say something in addition to the usual disclosure is just a thing that the FTC and whatever the Canadian equivalent expects when you receive something of value for broadcasting it. So I was given a key for promotional purposes. But every once in a while, a developer will have sort of a request in terms of saying things. Now, my view on this is, if I'm going to take the key, I will, I will abide by the rules. However, I don't think it is outside the spirit of the exercise to say, what I've been told to do it, or to say, right? I'm not going to tell you where else you can buy it. I mean, number one, you probably already know, but number two, that's indecent, right? GOG were the people who gave me the key. If that matters to you, you can buy it on GOG. Obviously, GOG are attached to CD Projekt Red, who produced the game. The ad copy actually was 100% of your money goes to CD Projekt Red, and frankly, I think your entire salary is too much to go to them, but. But yeah, the thing is that like I don't necessarily think it's like if they're mad about the fact that I say they told me to say that, that's their problem. But the thing is that I feel that it's I'm happy to say the line. I am not happy to say the line as if it is my own personal feeling, right? There was a time when I was very big on GOG. Now is not the time for me to say why that's no longer the case. It's up to you to decide where you want to buy some stuff from. But this particular broadcast is being brought to you by virtue of the fact that GOG did give me a key, and in fact did give me a key on release, and that's something that I am grateful for. And at the very least, I will disclose the key as well as the material that they wanted me to say. But yeah, I am not a big fan of the type of ad copy that that's about making you sound like you're all like basically that you're saying something that you didn't. And also too, if I don't say that, you all are gonna know something's up, because the whole back when I was with the Epic affiliate thing, right? Not the rule, but the comment was always, buy where you want. It's kind of up to you to make those decisions. I have X, Y, or Z affiliate link for the following reasons. So I would also argue it is much more unnatural for me to say, no, only buy it from this one place. So with that in mind, I have now done my I've done my duty. I've announced what's going on. Now, I can't remember, there was the garage, but I seem to remember there was that party, and I can't remember if there was something else that I wanted to pick up from there. So we're going to watch, maybe, if I can find it again. We're going to watch the people dancing to music that clearly is under copyright. I would have thought that counted as something I could pick up. Oh, hang on. I'm really worried that that is copyrighted music. So I'm just going to quit out and jump back in again. Because the thing is, like, when we did this last time, it was silent. Sorry, GOG's just syncing.
City, welcome back. My guest tonight is Lieutenant Sarah Kokoski, spokeswoman.
Okay, totally different music, so. So either these guys are not here anymore, or they haven't spawned in yet. Oh, there we go. The Patriots of 6th Street. When I think about the best that the United States has to offer, it's the men and women of the 6th Street who I see in my mind's eye. All night citizens recognize the name, but it is the residents of Vista del Rey who owe a lot to 6th Street. A lot, if not everything. There was a time when entrepreneurs of all varieties tried their luck in the neighborhood, but most wound up penniless and hungry: cab drivers, mechanics, shopkeepers. Small businesses fell right and left in total economic devastation that arrived in the wake of the Fourth Corporate War. As larger corporations like Arasaka expanded their business into the area, local franchises saw their customer pool dry up. Nascent gangs seized control of the streets, terrorizing residents on such a scale that even police intervention proved a useless endeavor. But then they began to appear, professional soldiers returning home to Vista from tours of duty. Though they expected to return to the sound of children's laughter in the streets and the sumptuous smell of freshly grilled scalp burgers, they were instead shocked and disheartened by the chaos and destruction that greeted them. And yet their will could not be broken. Like true-blooded Americans, they took matters into their own hands. They stockpiled Militech weaponry, trained their neighbors as they had been trained, and exacted their revenge on the scattered brutal gangs that savaged their home. So formed the 6th Street Paramilitary Company. Whites, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans together in arms patrolling the streets of Night City together, a unified force demonstrating what it means to be a patriot. Their enemies spread baseless slander of theft and smuggling. They are resilient in both constitution and belief, proud, young, and eager for a future when the states once again stand united. They await the day someone will bring America from its knees, just as they have done with Vista del Rey. Now that's actually an interesting... it's a bunch of white guys that I saw here, and this is definitely a very monochromatic audience, so I kind of thought that this was... when you see paramilitary... with cowboy hats and lots of American flags, you definitely don't think of the type of group that that was just described here. So I'm actually a little more favorably disposed to them than I was in the previous session. Should probably make sure. Ooh. So what were we trying to do here? A wraith dealer here chose the wrong market. He made, as they say, a deadly misstep. But now you can get something out of it, right, V? Just check his stash. The wraiths. The first new nomad codes elaborate the various reasons you might be... Hey, MC, how you doing? First new nomad codes elaborate the various reasons you might be expelled from your family, including share with others in your clan, or do not keep for yourself that which may help another in your clan. Reading those documents today, it's hard to fight the feeling that they were written in different, happier times. These days, nomads are more often expelled from their families for murdering or raping a fellow family member, human trafficking, poisoning the water supply, or betrayal of the clan. And we have a word for those nomads, the Raffen Shiv. Once ousted, most Raffens still maintain their nomadic lifestyles. They form larger groups on the road, but nobody would call these groups family, not even in jest. Raffen Shiv prowl the Badlands, and ambushing unsuspecting travelers, corpo convoys, or even, and with particular relish, other nomad camps. A gang of Raffen Shiv even formed outside of Night City's gates, the Wraiths. They're well-organized, effective, and willing to do anything. After all, like all Raffens, they've got nothing to lose. Alright, so we are going to see what's going on with these upstanding citizens.
Wait, don't tell me that's a Jinguji dress.
Okay, 2 1Cs and then a BD. Ah, it's so frustrating that I can't tag these guys.
What? Another problem?
Oh, come on. Ah! Okay, so I gotta get rid of some of the weight. So maybe we ditch some of the revolvers here. So 169 is currently the higher one. Yeah, I've got too many assault rifles. And a bunch of shotguns, so... I probably should have done this a long time ago, but... Okay, now there's submachine gun. Okay, so that's an iconic. I can't get rid of that. This, I believe, is burst fire. I'm not crazy about those. Right, that's a legendary, so I can't get rid of that either. Okay, we are starting to approach some sort of sensible lineup. Oh my god. Okay, well I've already got my non-lethal. Basically, unless it is 318, I don't want it. Okay. I should probably eventually get rid of the some of the items that I've got here. Something for me to take care of later. Archive conversation, Spike Goldblum. Alright, checked out 100%. That gonk is a motherfucking wraith and he's dealing mosquito shit on our turf. Higher ups say we can take him out, so get to work. No fooling around, you can take him out quick, clean, and quiet. I don't think there's anywhere for me to dump this guy, so... That was a considerably easier sort of mission than the last few of these. Could you maybe stop doing that? Okay, that was, again, very straightforward. So let's see what kind of jobs we've got. So Rise... Wait, Rise is the contact, so that doesn't actually mean that much. If I go back to my journal, I think Automatic Love was going to be the one that I went to. Try and buy a new vehicle. Okay, so that's across the map. That's back in Watson. I'll still go for it. See if I can try and avoid to be... I don't want to be too much of a menace. Just a little. So the tricky question here is, do I want to run onto some of the different side missions that'll come up on my way, or do we just go and buy the quartz right away? I'm slightly inclined to pick up the quartz, but we'll see. If something compels me, I might change my mind. One of the things I do kind of like about going and even just picking up these vehicles or that is I don't always get a chance to see the environment. Like, I think probably because Act 1 focuses entirely on Watson, I maybe fail to appreciate how diverse and just large the map is for this game. So it's kind of nice. I don't know. To me, it's kind of nice to be able to, you know, even if it doesn't, even if like I'm not, even if I'm not, you know, doing a ton of missions in a region, just being able to sort of take a look at the different environments, particularly again, all of the color. One, it's just kind of nice for a change of scenery, but number two, just I get to appreciate a bit more. So I was watching the stuff in the sky. Yeah, just getting a chance to sort of see how much effort got put into this. That for the most part, I haven't really quite recognized. I suppose the other thing is that I've been spending a lot of time in the city at night. Obviously, this world looks very, very different during the day.
Join us today to find. Hey! Did I do something?
It would be kind of interesting to take a look at the... I suppose if it's the Cyberpunk Red rule book that would have been made during the production of this game, but I'm wondering if I were to compare some of the images from the Cyberpunk 2020 source books, because there was like a Humble Bundle that had a bunch of them, which I picked up. I'm wondering if you'd be able to sort of take some of the settings that you see here and be able to map them to some of the images in the old Cyberpunk rulebooks. I think I've talked about it before, but the only thing that's really Cyberpunk, like specifically Cyberpunk 2020 branded, that I've played. Wow, a good job of. I don't want to know what I did to make you sound mad. Yeah, the one sort of Cyberpunk branded product that I played was Fantasy Flight Games. Well, yeah, it's not even really Cyberpunk branded so much as I understand sort of the pedigree. So, Fantasy Flight Games published this living card game called Netrunner, or is it Android Netrunner or Netrunner Android? I think it's Android Netrunner. So I don't think I can afford the bike now. Yeah, gonna have to do a couple jobs. Like, this is a really zippy vehicle. Yeah, so this had been bought from Wizards of the Coast, or probably not bought, but licensed from Wizards of the Coast. And the original game was just called Netrunner. There's a couple things about it. So if I recall correctly, the original Netrunner was designed by Richard Garfield. Certainly much better known for Magic the Gathering. But, oh, you know what? I think this place was just for software, but I should probably double check to see if I can maybe get a better cyber deck, unless I've already bought one. Nope, we're still running the Militech Paraline.
So, looks like we found the last honest cop in this city. Her name's Anna Hamill, and whatever she's investigating, it's made her a lot of enemies. She'd do best to cut it out, if you catch my drift. Okay, look, I know how it sounds, but somebody would have taken this gig anyway, right? I don't know. Maybe there's an angle you can play here. Either way, info's attached.
Oop. Gun for hire. Force Anna Hamill to drop her police investigation. Location Kabuki Market. Anna Hamill is a blue-blooded cop through and through. The kind you'd expect to see in some NCPD promo. Beautiful, smart, honest to a fault. In other words, a really bad fit for Night City. Her NCPD colleagues are another story. They all have back problems from sitting on fat wallets. The current case Hamill's working on has them all breaking out in hives. She's digging into a smuggling racket in the Kabuki Market, which, if she makes any real headway, means bad biz for her comp buddy's finances. They want someone from the outside at the precinct to nip this thing in the bud. Normally that's where I'd leave it, but I want to add one more thing. I kind of feel bad for the girl. Rather she not flatline if you can avoid it. Convince her to skip town or drop the case and make a career change at least. So if I recall correctly, this I think was an earlier.
What do you expect? This is Kabuki, not North Oak.
What you know about Kabuki, dirty nomad?
Come on, I don't need this. Just toss in an anti-whiff tablet for the smell.
15% off, or I will not buy.
And they call nomads thieves. Fine. Fine. You got the deal.
Ever seen this woman?
Don't make trouble. I sell food, and I just want to keep selling food. That is all I will say.
Okay.
change. Watch it.
Sounds like your problem, not mine.
Trying to find someone. Yeah, so if I recall correctly, this was an earlier mission that was available to me when I first played it. I don't know if that was... I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was a change that they made later on, but I'm pretty sure I've done this before, although not with the tech that I have. If I recall correctly, I think I paid someone off last time to find out more about my target. Although I'm really feeling like there's not that many people I can...
How ya?
You know her?
Wait. I do know you. You're that fixer fairy, making waves.
Do what I can.
This woman, she knows how to ruffle feathers. But she's a good person. That clear?
She doesn't step on a Ripper's toes?
My business ain't your concern. She's staying in the hotel, 3rd floor, room 303. She's a good person.
Hello, and I'm gonna get this at some point. And then in more Galore. Clearly not today. How you doing? Seems like there's a chance for me to make a little bit of money here. Okay, so an E9, BD, BD. And then possibly... Okay, E9, BD. Wish I had a way of doing that 55. Okay, well here's what I'll do. E9, E9. Okay, BD, BD. I was wondering if I could maybe get the 55 on the end there, but no such luck. I'm really feeling like I need that tea, so I might take a small break after this one. I am not paying that. Oh, hang on, this may not be the... Oh no, this is the hotel. So I don't really need any information on the computer, but I might as well take it. Okay, 1C, so 55, 1C, 55, 1C. Please do something. Morton Olson to Motel Kabuki. Not to be a pain, but I am paying for this room and I expect a certain standard of comfort and service. I understand there's nothing that you can do about all the noise from the market. I can live with having to keep my windows closed, but I'm disappointed in your lack of willingness to keep control of your guests. This cursor seems unusually large. You got a new kettle. It's much more precise in temperature and it improved your more delicate teas by a mile. I finally upgraded to a sort of nice tea. there was a deal going on at sort of the big supermarket chain near me over the winter for like basically like winter goods. So cocos, coffees, teas, that sort of thing. So they've got a points program. So basically the way it worked out, not only was it on sale, but you could get like a ridiculous number of points. And for whatever reason, they didn't do the dollar value from the sale. They did like the actual base dollar value. So I kind of made out like a bandit for it. So I had Yorkshire tea for the first time in the UK when I visited. And I know Patrick Stewart's favorite tea is not Earl Grey hot, but it is in fact Yorkshire Gold. So I wound up with a couple boxes of Yorkshire Gold. That's about the finest tea that I have right now. But yeah, for me, I definitely don't have, I really don't have that much, especially. But then again, that's nice, because like then I don't need to worry about, I mean, have clean water, try not to keep the tea bag in too long. I do have some loose leaf teas. But yeah, for me, it's very simple. But I realize I'm missing out on some of the nicer ones. I feel like I've asked you this question before, but do you have a favorite? Do you have one that that really sings with that new kettle? But I'm disappointed in your lack of willingness to keep control of your guests, especially that woman in room 203. I don't know if a louder person exists on this earth. She's constantly talking, even at the wee hours of the night, and clearly doesn't hold 1 ounce of decency towards her neighbors. My guess is she's a junkie and is too skezzed out of her mind to get a wink of sleep herself, not to mention all the undesirables who appear to keep visiting her room. I mean no disrespect, but please do your jobs. Hey, got a problem. A bunch of encrypted material. If you read through the above, it's too late. Your neural processor has been infected. Send this message to 3 other people immediately, or in 7 days you'll go cyber psycho. Don't believe me? Good, because this isn't another chainmail. Send 5,000 euro dollars to the attached account, or I'll melt your skull sponge. Do you believe me now? If you do, you're a moron. Open your eyes, Choom. Look around. The world as we know it, one big lie. Corporations, the media, politicians, they're all pulling the wool over your eyes 24/7. They want us to believe that we live the best lives in the best possible worlds. Want to know the truth? Night City's a fucking dystopian cesspool. The 20th century's worst fever dream nightmares have come true before our very eyes. Yet we remain blind. We, born into dystopia, are utterly incapable of imagining life any other way. The porno billboards accost us on all sides, the synth shit we eat slowly melts us from within, and we continue paying out the ass for the privilege. You're sick. Want a cure? Listen to Good Doc Paradox. Guest less, 201, minimize noise, reservation 1 night, check out tomorrow, 202, Wilson family, couple with child, upcoming week, already paid. 203 available, story there. 204 Morton Olson, reserved 4 nights, paid for 3, will be removed if payment not received today, annoying shit. 56301, all available. 302 occupied, do not disturb. 303 Anna, last name not given, extended reservation 1 month, do not disturb. 304 available. 305 Anthony Scusi, reservation 3 nights paid. And 306 Samuel you, ongoing reservation, pays regularly, do not disturb. When I did the remote takeover, that would normally cause problems, so I am not, well, probably won't surprise you for me to say that I'm not familiar. What kind of tea is it, and how would you describe it to a lay person? Huh.
Name.
Anna, drop this investigation. It's in your best interest.
That a threat? I'd remind you, you're the one in the fucking crosshairs.
Hey, easy. I just want to help.
Help? Phonic implant must be fried. I think you meant intimidate.
Just to end your investigation. Really pissed off the wrong people.
Which people? Tell me what fucking people!
Your buddies at the NCPD set you up.
Fucking. I fucking knew it! Robert Kowalski and Bill Adams! Motherfuckers!
Let it go. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Know what? I'm not letting scumbags get me killed! Fuck them, fuck this job, fuck this city!
Thanks. All's well that ends well.
Give me a break. Don't act like you're different from the fuckers who sent you here. You got what you wanted, now fuck off!
Well, I mean, I gotta loot the place first, right?
Got nothing to say to you, June.
Contemporary netrunner groups. Among all notable netrunner groups, or cells in the recent years, found in translation has undoubtedly emerged as the most infamous. The four members of the group, known only by their aliases JD, AP, SK, and BPM, primarily target major braindance studios and productions. The first reported cyber attacks perpetrated by Found in Translation were breaches of studio data fortresses that contained braindance files slated for release. They made slight adjustments to the recording data in order to replace positive emotions towards corporations with hot-blooded hate and to erase corporate logos that were planted for promotional purposes. In July 2076, after a fit-altered version of the Braindance Badlands Raid hit the market in the Pacific Northwest, many consumers took to the streets of Seattle in a surge of violent anti-corporate riots. Following the incident, studios tightened security measures and law enforcement authorities formally recognized FIT as a terrorist cell that posed significant risk to public safety and order. In response, FIT adapted its tactics. Rather than solely launching attacks on braindance producers, they've begun to infiltrate domestic and commercial braindance units to corrupt or alter data. Their most recent data manipulation attacks on the Braindance's Wasteland Fury and Slave to the Supervisory Board have cemented their reputation as a formidable netrunner cell that refuses to yield to outside pressure. Oh, nice. Sorry, I just saw the tea gift. I'm out. Masato Tanaka and a Hamill. Anna, like in the subject, I thought I could do this, but I really can't. I could try to think of some inspired reason to back out of this, but it'd be a waste of your time and mine. I'm a coward and I know it. I won't testify. I'm sorry. From Anna Hamill to Masato Tanaka. Masato, please think this through. We're so close now. We have a real chance to lock these bastards behind bars. Your safety is in my hands. You're not in this alone, and I'm telling you, this is zero risk for you. You really want to keep them on like this when we can do something about it? I hope to hear from you soon. The guy we talked about, John Casey to Anna Hamill. Hey, I'm writing you regarding that guy you heard about at the market. According to our records, his name is Finn Gerstadt, known around town as Fingers. Real scuzzbag type, few screws loose, the uncle you never want to leave the kids with. Scrawny, unkempt, balding, dried out like a chili left in the sun. He looks like a lizard suffering crack withdrawal. His sense of style says something between everyone look at me and I'm a teenage girl in a drunk 40-year-old bum's body, i.e. colorful, flamboyant, and disturbing. Now for the interesting stuff. This creature is an established ripper in the sex biz circles, but really these fingers extend from petty thieves to off-the-books hustle to street orphans. Most importantly, you can never tell where the cyberware comes from exactly, but he has to have a permanent source. There's a good chance that he has his fingers, okay, sorry about that one, in what's happening around the Kabuki market, as you suspected. Slugs like him fuel the smuggle racket. Anna, listen, this is really all I can do. I'm already risking a lot getting this info to you. Please be careful. I'm serious, okay? The atmosphere at the precinct is getting really shady these days. Oh, nice. I have a couple of green teas that I've played, so like or tried. When I get loose leaf tea, there is there's a pretty standard Earl Grey that I get, and it's mostly because it is the most inexpensive option from that place. But it just it tastes good. It's an Earl Grey, like you know what you're getting, and I like it. But there's kind of a green tea equivalent to it. So it's slightly flavored, but not overwhelmingly so. Kind of like Earl Grey with the bergamot, right? Like obviously it's a flavored tea, but not like it's not like they put the sugary kind of strawberry flavoring or something like that in it.
V of the silver tongue, eh? Glad we got it all worked out. Contract closed.
So yeah, that's my usual go-to green tea, and I definitely like some of the other ones. But what I notice is that tea store tends not to have, like, other than that one that I was talking about, they really tend not to have any kind of anything in that range. It's usually a very costly and like rare one. So my main focus has usually been on black teas. I mean, I like black teas anyway, but I don't get to try as much green except for that one specific one.
T-Bug's death. What did you hear?
The truth. She got burned, like anyone who tries to hit Arasaka. They found the body in her pad. Nervous system fried.
Hello,
you know
Index.
what that feels like?
Can't say I do.
They say it's like 100,000 knives stabbing you at once. I can't imagine a worse way to go. Poor girl. I liked her, too.
Got anything Nova for sale?
If you can afford it, yes.
Looks like it's just software here. Yeah, quick hack components. There's definitely a few things here that I think would be useful, but I want I think I need a new cyber deck first. So I don't see why that Ripper would have any, but let's see what's going on. Never buy this tea if there wasn't something to celebrate. Yeah, it's kind of, I still have a couple of nice whiskeys in the apartment, but I like really have not had a drink. Well, sorry, that's not entirely true. I had a couple drinks in Vancouver and then like one in the UK, just because like it's vacation, meeting with a couple of couple friends or like special occasions and all of that. But I'll be honest with you, like I've kind of the more I've read about it, the more I really feel like alcohol is basically just smoking with better PR. It's become increasingly difficult for me to justify it. So, kind of on my own, like I still have this stuff, but I really haven't partaken. But I don't know, a nice tea to have. It actually sounds like a really good idea. The other one is that the tea place that I go to, they do have kind of like a frequent steeper program. So you get like, I can't remember how many, it's like 100 grams or so of anything. And like, it does not matter what one. Like you could, I buy the really cheap Earl Grey. And as long as I hit my frequent steepers, I could buy the super rare stuff. And they apparently don't complain about it. From what I understand, they had a big restructuring of their debt, so that's probably one reason why. But I fully intend to take advantage of the deal.
Looking for a change.
Come on then. Time to tinker.
Okay. I wish I understood what the difference on the I think I know the buffer size. So the buffer size is probably for the the hacking mini games. But yeah, the biotech Well, Stevenson Tech, or I wonder if that's a reference to Neil Stevenson, by the way. Cyberdeck that, according to some, can prolong orgasms. Thanks to its optimized protocols, this Preem-tier machine will squeeze the effectiveness out of your demons to the very last drop. The Biotech Sigma Mark II, popular cyberdeck among netrunners whose equipment relies on speedy RAM recovery. On that front, the augmented Biotech coprocessors easily get the job done. So quick hack cooldown reduced by 30%, increases combat quick hack duration by 30%. That's actually pretty tempting. Allows you to perform quick hacks on targets and devices while scanning. Alternatively, allows you to perform quick hack. Okay, same here. Increases cyberdeck RAM recovery rate by 9 units per 60 seconds and increases damage dealt. Okay, so actually the Stevenson is slightly better for me, even though it has a lower base RAM. I don't have 18 body or 9 body, and I don't have 40 street cred. So we'll pick up the Stevenson Tech. I could sell my Paraline. I won't, though. I feel like there's some upgrades I can go for here. Okay, I can live with this. And this is another item I can pick up. You're slow switching for beer and cider to tea just because you're beginning to hate dealing with hangovers. Oh no! Yeah, so I don't know if it's just I'm lucky or I've not had enough to deal with a hangover. I mean, also, like, whenever I have indulged, I tend to have a lot of water already. But honestly, like, I don't, like, drinking was never, like, a big deal for me in the first place. And like I said, just, my inclination usually is to, just read and follow through on stuff. And like I said, it's been, even though I do really like whiskey and I have a few nice ones in the apartment, it's just really hard for me to reconcile what I've read with, the kinds of decisions that I would make anywhere else. And I'm not even that, like, healthy of an eater or anything like that, but it's just sort of like, where I can, I try to...
V, gonna send you some malware, on purpose. A demon by bad. The runner you're gonna help out. You gotta hack a mega building subnet. Spike it with the files I send you. More deets attached.
Bad got in touch with me. They like short nicknames and simple gigs, so I'll spare you the fixer spiel and get right to the point. You'll find Bad's malware attached to this message. You'll have to download it, just be careful, it's hella dangerous, and then upload it to the subnet in the H11 mega building. Piece of cake, right? Sorry to burst your bubble, but you'll have tigers on the prowl. Bad's plan is to attack some Arasaka subnet and use H11 as a smokescreen. Clever, right? Instead of leading to them, all traces of Bad's breach will lead right back to the mega building. FYI, our netrunner already hacked the mega building elevator, so getting into the server room won't be a problem. I did say I was going to grab some tea, but let's... Well, we'll see how tricky this one is. Hey, tell me.
70% real blood-dripping meat.
Slaughterhouse, satisfy your instincts.
Okay, so 55, E9, E9. So this seems as easy as anything to try and find find the bad guys.
Yeah, well, somehow we can. Anyway, go back. Okay. Don't.
Should have controlled it first. So I probably can't take that guy out without some trouble there. Okay, so...
Nice.
I would have thought I'd be able to ping at least. Oh, hang on. I probably need to equip all my stuff again. Yeah, okay. So let's go ping for sure. Reboot optics. Whistle would be helpful. Sonic Shock, probably. Which one of these is the new one? Don't know, we'll find out later. Okay, I feel like I might be able to make the move on this guy, although it's tricky to try and see how I would... Oh, he might see me. Nope, just his friend does. So the tricky part's going to be trying to find a place to dump the body. This is going to be very risky, but... I cannot believe I got away with that. How have my projects been? Quite a few either wrapping up or at least making some kind of progress. I'm also behind on a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna have to map out the full plan here. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to complain with where things are right now. I'm reasonably happy with how some of this stuff's been turning out. I've ever played Deus Ex. Not sure why I hadn't before, but the gameplay as far as stealthing goes seems similar. So I've played a bit of Deus Ex. I've not played the full game. I actually did a little bit on stream, but the drawback is when I did realistic, I didn't appreciate that that was the hardest difficulty. So it may be realistic damage for you, but not realistic damage for the enemies. So I made some progress through Hong Kong, I think. But I've definitely not completed the game. From what I understand, though, Deus Ex is a pretty big inspiration for this one. So, E9, 1C, BD. But that 1C doesn't get me the E9. So, E9, 1C, BD. Same problem, doesn't get me the E9. If I were to try BD, 1C, E9, 1C, BD. Works for me. Yeah, I mean, the thing that surprised me a little bit more about this game was how, so it definitely, like, one thing that I've said a couple times about this is I didn't appreciate how close to, sort of the Bethesda-style RPGs it is. Like, to a point where I'm happy that I did the... Yikes! To the point that I'm actually quite happy that I did the Elder Scrolls playthroughs, because it took me a very long time to get into this type of RPG. Now, obviously, the first-person shooting, you know, the shooter mechanics and all of that are quite a bit more sophisticated than say, you know, a Skyrim or something like that. Security violation. Net firewall services have been deactivated. Number of connections exceed limit. Controller error found. File system has been corrupted. System cannot dump data to transaction log. System can become corrupted. Unexpected system shutdown. Critical system process is suspended. Service issue due to unknown error. Yeah, so that was the first thing that sort of surprised me about this game. As I've been playing it more, I'm actually starting to appreciate how similar to GTA this also is. Yeah, I don't know. I like I kind of said from the beginning, I was skeptical about Cyberpunk before it was cool, and now I'm in the rather unenviable position to sort of try and push back against this perception that, like, this game for some reason seems to be a byword for failure, and I really do not think, like, whatever gripes I have about it, and some of the creative decisions they decided to make on this, I really do not think that it's fair to consider this like a failure in the way that you know, that people have been treating it. And that was also true before the patches. Like, if you took a look at the concurrent player numbers, if you took a look at sort of the revealed preferences of the people who were playing the game, there were certainly a lot of people, and namely the people on console, who had a really hard time with that game on release. But I don't know, like, yes, it didn't live up to the marketing hype. should they have done such a big marketing campaign? It certainly seemed to move units. The game sold very, very well. But I feel like there are so many other games that you could point to that have a much more legitimate claim to, to being some kind of a failure than this one. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not like I think I would be quite bad as a game critic because I'm actually very easily pleased with most stuff I play. And I know this because there are some games which people really don't like that I was pretty content with. So I recognize that this is something about how I play games. And honestly, I'm actually happy that I'm like this because why why would you want to be any other way, right? You can focus on thinking the way that other people want you to think, or you can enjoy, it seems to me like not a bad trait to have to enjoy most of the stuff that you experience, right? And again, you get to. I kind of recognize that I cut something of a ridiculous character when I say that sort of stuff, right? Because it's sort of, if I were to apply this to literature, right, I'd be like, oh, that person doesn't know what a good book is. But, if I think about my favorite essayists in that, right, like George Orwell wrote good, bad books, and he sort of rated a number of books that didn't necessarily have any kind of literary merit, that he had a pretty strong feeling would outlive, certain highfalutin titles. So there is sort of a literary equivalent to what I'm describing. Yeah, I don't know. Just it's nice to just enjoy what you like. I noticed there is a strong tendency. So like people on social media will say stuff like, unpopular opinion, and then it's just like the most banal nonsense that follows afterward that doesn't even remotely come close to an unpopular opinion. It's a commonly held belief that everybody kind of wants to pretend is some kind of controversial view. But one of the ones that I've noticed is that the quote-unquote unpopular opinions almost always involve like crapping on something. And I would love it if more people would say, here's a thing people like to look down their nose at. And I think it's a really good one. Maybe it's the text boxes I enjoy so much. So I actually feel better about this. I've not seen the sequel yet, but at least last I saw it, I liked Avatar. I haven't stopped liking Avatar. I know people have a lot of strong opinions about Avatar, but unless I watch it again and have a radically different experience, I think it's a really good movie. I think Titanic's a really good movie. I know a lot of people who like to say that they don't like Titanic. I think that movie's a masterpiece. I don't feel the Titanic one is as controversial. Maybe it was more controversial, like closer to when it came out. But the thing is that I'll hear a lot of opinions, quote unquote unpopular opinions, that again they're about crapping on something. And what I don't hear a lot of are people ridicule this thing, but by God, I love it. And I would really like more of that. Because I don't know, if you're trying to learn what works in games, or if you're trying, if you're an aspiring game developer and you want to make good games, it probably doesn't hurt to sit down and say, I played this thing and it really didn't work for me, and I want to understand why this thing didn't work for me. And similarly, if you're watching a movie, and you are not compelled by what you're seeing, you probably want to think about why that didn't work the way that maybe the filmmaker had intended. But if you're just a consumer of things, you know, if you're watching a movie, if you're playing a game, if you're reading a book, listening to an audio drama, which nobody does these days, you know, I don't really feel like you need to sit down and say, like, I've got a friend, Johnny Big Time, who has this guy apparently in his social circle where they watch movies, and like the guy always does like, I didn't like the pacing. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, I know what they're trying to say, but like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, nitpick at it, because instead of having sort of the, you know, the convictions of your tastes, you kind of need to let everybody know how, you know, urbane your tastes are by, you know, by poking holes in something that, you know, that you enjoy, or that everybody else enjoyed, and probably you secretly enjoyed yourself. You know, I guess the thing is, I don't see how the conversation is served by that. I don't see how anybody's understanding of the media that they're consuming is enhanced by it. And it kind of, I've been with people like that, and they're really intolerable to watch stuff with. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think people need to be uncritical of what they're checking out, but it would be nice if sort of the critique took certain forms, or better forms. Like, my standard in terms of reviews now is what I read in Foreign Affairs. Again, sorry to use a highfalutin example, but like, I really like the book reviews in Foreign Affairs, because I really feel, having read those reviews, that I'm walking away with a much better understanding of the subject of the book. And that will be for books that utterly fail to do justice to their subject, or, you know, or, you know, like, excuse me, texts that wind up becoming like, you know, the new standard. You know, both of them, I feel like I have a much better understanding of sort of the context in which the book is being presented. And I say that about books on subjects that I am quite familiar with, because they do have an economic section, as well as some of the other sections which I am less immediately familiar with. And so, you know, where I can, if I can do some kind of a review, I'd love it if it was more than just, here's my tastes, and I somehow have the illusion that you, the reader, somehow care about my taste, and instead that people can walk away feeling informed from reading one of them. You may notice I don't do a lot of reviews, and it's for that reason, because I don't think I can hit that. It's because I don't think I can hit that that target. Valor says, I am a lover for works of Hemingway, and because of him you started writing a shitty dumb Shadowrun story about a dumb character doing things, and I don't care that they're terrible. I love them. Yeah, well, I know, was it Rod Sterling, I think, wrote something in a letter to an aspiring writer, which is, you know, to love writers, learn from them, but don't necessarily just imitate them. And I think what he's getting from that is not necessarily, like, when he talks about learning, it's not that you can't use the techniques that they're using, but the thing is that, you know, it's like what Ravel said to Gershwin, right? Why would you want to be a second-rate Ravel when you can be a first-rate Gershwin? You know, why would you want to be second-rate Hemingway? Well, when instead you can take those things that you love from Hemingway and you can use them to make your own stories. And even if you kind of feel like the stories aren't where you want them to be, like, being able to take that effort and build on them and sort of find your voice, I feel is a very useful strategy. You agree, but it's hard not to critique Real Housewives of Orange County over your girlfriend's shoulder at times. Yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm not trying to come up with a grand statement about whether or not anything can be critiqued. I'm not at all familiar with Real Housewives of Orange County, but I can tell from the title I am probably not the intended audience for that. And not everything is high quality. Most of the movies that I ever worked on were terrible, and everybody who was working on them knew that they were terrible. But we're making money. So yeah, I'm kind of lucky. I live on my own, so I don't have to watch anything. I don't have to watch anything that I don't want to. Like, I'm not paid to do criticism. I'm not, not doing anything but sort of playing and watching stuff on my own. A Forspoken game is interesting how divided people are on it. Can really tell how taste can affect enjoyability just in the dialogue itself. Yeah, there's actually a couple things. There's a couple of game designers who kind of, I feel like they have something valuable to say on that particular topic. And they sort of gave some examples in terms of how a particular style is actually quite fraught for the very reason. It's always tricky too, because a lot of the stuff I was reading about Forspoken was read in a very, and I hate that I'm saying this term because I know it's very charged, but through a very political lens, both like on both sides of this of it, and that always frustrates me because I feel like it doesn't have anything to do with the underlying game itself so much as sort of the mirror that it holds up to the author. And like, it's hard for me to really say there's no space for that kind of discussion, because like, obviously stories are about stuff. At least good stories are about stuff. It's appropriate to sort of talk about these things, but I find it very difficult to read the stuff that I'm reading about Forspoken and to see it as anything but people kind of trying to sort of wrench in their own agenda on a particular topic. And like, I feel, at least in terms of what I've read, having not played Forspoken, I definitely feel like there is not nearly enough justification within the game to support the claims that those authors are making. And again, I could be totally off base on it, and it could be that it's actually a very clear problem with that game. But how would I know, right? Because when somebody, like, was really clear that the reviewer has an axe to grind, it's, you kind of, at that point, like, actually there's a lot of writing like this that isn't just game reviews. Like, there's a style of writing now where it feels like the author isn't even necessarily trying to persuade you that it's really intended for its given audience. So like the worst example of this is there's an entire group of people where, like, if you have a woman character and she has any sense of sarcasm, they're immediately going to talk about, how terrible the Western woman is now, and how we need to go back to traditional values. And it's just this, like, that they're running off to the incel community to get their latest talking points. The other version of this is oh god, there was one that I think it was like an NPR review or something like that. I can't remember the exact terms that they used, but like they definitely they did not have anything nice to say about its portrayal of a. I don't know the ethnicity of the main character, but is this going to make me sound like a million years old to call it an ethnic character? I'm sorry. I don't want to get the label wrong on it. But yeah. Anyways, that was all the review was about. And I'm like, there is a game underneath this, right? And again, like from either one of those, I don't feel any more informed about the game, because it just seems to me that, it's even if they're actually talking about problems underlying the game, it is just so obvious that those two authors are really, really focused on those two topics, to the exclusion of anything else, that I cannot come up with any sort of a frame of reference as to how much of that has to do with the game itself. And like I said, that is not exclusive to gaming. It's a general problem that we have with the type of writing, but I also understand why that problem exists. If you're doing, if you're relying on ads, you are going to have a much easier time getting the clicks and getting the views that you want by telling people what they want to hear, rather than trying to do proper reporting. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish we lived in a different world, but this is not a new phenomenon. So if you are on the progressive end of things, you probably really like reading Vox, and you really like reading their explainers, and you really like hearing how you're right and everybody who disagrees with you is just lower than a moron. And if you are more on the right of the spectrum, you're probably really going to like your Fox and Newsmax, and you're going to think that just everybody else is just in a complete moral lapse, that they lack any kind of common sense, and that every last pee under the mattress complaint is being given undue attention. Neither of these are actually very helpful views of looking at the world, but you can probably put most of the sites that we read on a regular basis on one of those two poles. Again, it's a shame, because we would be much better served if we had articles that aimed to persuade rather than just kind of preach to the choir. Funny when a game is fully political storyline, the politics almost get removed. Yeah, I've never played a Metal Gear game, but yeah, it's funny. Like, and that the whole political thing is a whole other argument too, because I know there was that time when everybody was like mocking game developers for saying games weren't political. Yeah, it's a shame, right? Because I actually think, what are the important topics to talk about? Politics and religion. These are things that people really care about, and they're important topics. But the way that we talk about these things is really polluted. Like, people just do not. I think they've really lost the ability to have any kind of empathy with a view that's not their own. And so, in the name of not like really annoying people, it feels like people are trying to avoid discussing the topic. But like, I would just say, if you remove those topics from creation, you're left with this kind of gray sludge, and you're denying yourself an opportunity to get into some really interesting material. I don't know. I expect better. Like, I don't particularly like. I'd probably not really like sitting through a propaganda piece, right? If I'm gonna get, yes, the Sanders campaign presents Cyberpunk 2077, or Tucker Carlson Cyberpunk. Neither of those will be particularly interesting games to me because, it's the opposite problem. Instead of having nothing to say, it is, shouting slogans at me, which is just a different form of nothing to say. But, to pretend, again, to imagine trying to tell a cyberpunk story that does not address the idea of equality or globalization or, humanity's relationship with technology. Imagine pretending that Terminator is apolitical or, Aliens is apolitical. Or Alien, for that matter. All of this stuff that are not just stories that we love, but stories that continue to be informing the stuff that we experience today, whether people are aware of it or not. All of these are very clearly things that would be listed as political. In fact, people would probably complain about, how, overtly, how the overt agenda that these things are carrying. But they are great stories, and they have something to say. Lore says, fell in that your story, the main character was an ugly, jaded woman in the world of beautiful elf woman, and you need to say 2/3 of the criticism I got were because they just didn't like her. Oh, that's a shame. Anyways, yeah, sorry to get on my soapbox there. Feeling alone tonight? Hot, use bio. Feeling alone and kinky? Women, men, agender, or fluid? We've got someone for you, and we're as naughty as we are sexy. You're just one easy order away from living out your dirtiest fantasy. Check out our Double Trouble Genitals, Animalia, Tails, Scales, and more. Neural libido stimulants. And that's just the start. What are you waiting for? Contact us now to take your pick of the hottest tale in town. Are you ready to get wild? Winky face. Glitter from Yaki Hakiro to Tetsuya Take. Send you another shipment of glitter once you get it distributed among the dealers. Just no fucking around or skimming. We calculated everything and make sure those kids don't get anywhere near you. The little shits are starting to get creative. We'll handle it just like you said. Don't worry. Alright. Should actually finish this mission. I'm curious if I can actually do anything to the runner. Oh, Spec Ops is a really good one. The Undoing, Follow the First Net. Chapter 1, The Apocalypse. His name was Raish Bartmoss. Everyone knows who destroyed the first net. The real question is why. NetWatch branded him a criminal and outlaw. The media called him a madman. Is either label correct? You be the judge. Below is a previously unpublished letter which Bartmoss put out just before the release of Rabbids. Why has this document only now just emerged? Well, someone out there did not want you, my dear readers, to ever lay eyes on it. All the more reason to take a deep dive into the information available to us. Maria Jimenez. The first net was supposed to save us. It would serve as a platform for those without a voice. It would offer unlimited knowledge to those who hungered for it. It would bring a fractured humanity closer together than ever before in our history. But these hopes were hollow, false. The net spread its tendrils across the globe faster than anyone could have predicted, before anyone could even consider the full range of consequences. This information superhighway turned out to be our path straight to hell. We were robbed of our privacy, deprived of our free will, stripped of our dignity. It was supposed to save us, but now even the net itself cannot be saved. It was molded by the corpse with sharp edges, spikes, and traps at every corner. Think of the net as a stream of water that flows gently into our minds, before freezing, swelling, and destroying us from inside out. But remember this about ice. As hard as it may be, it's surprisingly brittle. One well-placed strike, and it shatters into a million tiny pieces. Watch out today, and you'll see just what I mean. Raish Bartmoss. Who is Dr. Paradox? Who is Doc Paradox? Who's hiding behind the distorted mask? Unsurprisingly, Doc Paradox won't say. After all, he's breaking the law. He has to protect his identity. If he revealed even the tiniest sliver about himself, Netwatch agents would be at his door in less than a minute. But think about it. Think. What kind of person could successfully hide from the world's most powerful corporations for years? Who could hack into encrypted TV channels? Who could disclose highly classified corporate secrets? The answer's obvious. Doc Paradox is one of them. He's a puppet controlled by the establishment. To what end? Maybe this is how corporations funnel our anger and frustration in a safe and controlled manner, through a rebel who will never go so far as to issue a call to arms. Maybe he's being used to reveal facts that hurt the competition, or maybe he's just a branding opportunity. In a month or two, Avante could put out a new Doc Paradox line for us to wear our disapproval. Only time will tell, but for Christ's sake, don't listen to a word out of this phony's mouth. Actually, it just occurred to me, I understand that Deus Ex is a very popular game, and that if I say anything that is short of just pure adoration, I'm just setting myself up for trouble. But I am going to say this. The one thing I find very funny about Deus Ex is that it's kind of like having a very conspiracy-oriented friend like come over to your house every other day, because like if I remember correctly, that game you'll be walking through and like out of nowhere some guy's gonna start talking to you about FEMA camps, and like I understand it's like part of the plot and all of that, but like the number of people who are running by on what were, like, I'm assuming at the time, like real conspiracy theories, it sometimes gets to be a bit much. Like, it's not like I'm sitting down and I'm like, ugh, I can't stand this game. But like, there's definitely a few moments with the characters I'm like, okay, you could just go back on the throttle a little bit. Okay, nothing to do here but install the malware. And then I really am getting the tea. I notice my tendency is to talk a lot more than I should when I'm sleepy, and that's definitely true today. So my apologies if I've said anything too... I probably should have been a little more careful in terms of the Forspoken stuff, because again, I really have not seen the game. I can't say I was exactly thrilled by what I saw of Johnny playing it, but I'm also thinking that it's probably not my kind of game. So I don't know if I really have anything that interesting to say about it, but I definitely remember reading the reviews and having the very distinct impression that I had absolutely no idea what the game was like after going through a few of them. But I'm sure it does not come as a surprise to people that I'm not all that thrilled with the quality of some of the writing in games and outside of games.
Able to immediately return to work. Moving from below the Earth to above it, Militech has announced plans to establish a new colony on the Red Planet. The proposed base will be subdivided into 3 areas: industrial, scientific, and residential. 10 residential modules are already available for purchase.
That's happy, which means I'm happy, which means you get your eddies and everyone's happy. Contract closed. Thanks, V.
So I kind of want to stop by Vic. I feel a bit bad. Actually, hang on. There's a chance to be a police officer. Maybe. Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa! When it rains, it pours, huh, V? Glad to hear you're not bumming around. New contracts are available. Sending the info now. I have no idea what you're talking about, pickle fights. My god, that's a lot of them. Yeah, so I got that in a sex scene that I thought was a job right before the video started. Not exactly the smoothest operation I've ever run, but... But yeah, so needless to say, I do find the weapon sort of out of place. However, it is very powerful. So I'll accept the weirdness. Yeah, like, you know, in my defense... Okay, so when a character tells you, hey, meet me at the no-tell motel... Okay, perhaps that's not a job, but in fairness, the last time I went to the no-tell motel was to meet Dexter Deshawn, and it did not have a sex scene. So I'm not entirely sure I was unjustified in my assumption that I was going to be getting another job. Warning, Tiger Claw's headed for the building. Get back into your homes, lock and barricade the doors. I'm shutting down the doors and blocking the emergency exits. I'm basically too bashful for games like these, is the real lesson out of all of this. Sure which one I like more. It's probably going to be breaching forever at this point. Maybe if we get enough distance between us and the... Nope. Maybe what I can do is grab my... Where's my car? Oops. I wish I remember where home was. I thought it was here, but... there or there? That was definitely not the right one. Ah. Yeah, once I stop by Victor, I think that's going to be when I get my tea. Also, I should probably have a snack. Do actually have food, right? Easy beef. I always find it a little odd how when you switch between the equipment menu and the main game, it's going to cause a lot of lag in whatever screen you just transition to. Well, I've done this one before. It takes a while. I'm sure with my optical camo, I can do that a little faster, but I'd rather not. Rather not spend the time. That's not the Ripper Doc that I wanted. I keep hitting the wrong button. Maybe this one? I'll also pick up the Toro card while I can. I mean, I suppose I'd be just as happy to do more Regina's gigs in Kabuki, but I don't know if there's an end to it. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to do sort of a few in each region, or if you're supposed to kind of clean out one area and then move on to the next one. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work my way up to certain types of gear, and then when I feel like it, maybe we move on to another main quest. This doesn't look like home to me. How many Ripper Docs are there in this city anyway? Did I visit here already? I feel like I did. Oh, there we go. There's my apartment. Was it Allen Street? Sorry about that. Still don't think this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, this is definitely not good. Oh, I wish I had a better memory for locations. But I am happy to know where I can find tarot cards now. Police are surprisingly cool with my behavior. Maniac! I am glad that they don't treat damage like in Grand Theft Auto. I would not have an Eddie to my name. Okay, this is feeling slightly familiar. Yep, this is it. I thought there was a shortcut somewhere around here.
Got a few questions about Silverhand and his chip.
I'm no expert, but fire away. See what I can do.
Why am I reliving Johnny's memories?
You two share a brain now. He has access to your senses, perceptions, even some memories. Likewise, you've got a glimpse into his. After a while, you won't even know whose is whose.
Okay. Seems to me like this is a downgrade. I don't hate this option, but let's go back to it. Adrenaline booster is not a bad option, but let's see if we can do better. Okay, so we have gorilla arms. Oh, mantis blades. Mono. Oh man. A projectile launch system. I mean, these are all cool, but I don't exactly want weapons yet, so. Pick those up. Might as well go for the extra stamina at this point. And I still don't want to be sending out electric shocks. Yeah, that, unless we want to try further upgrades. Yeah, the music's really good. I do, I'm not crazy about the trend of using copyrighted music in game. Like, in the end, if the game's going to be better for copyrighted music, you should do it, because you don't need to you don't need to alter a particular game to to appeal to the streaming crowd, right? Like the job of the streaming crowd should be to provide entertainment, not to have entertainment be catered for their particular thing. But with that in mind, it sure would be nice if if games would use stuff that they had the broadcast rights to, as well as the just the standard rights for gaming. So, or at the very least, like there were alternate tracks. So like in the case of Old World, I like the way they handle it. You just deal with like a reduced soundtrack, but the music is always going to be playing. Whereas some of these games, what they do is they just cut out the music altogether and don't replace it. So you've got these like weird cases of people playing like air guitar when there should be like a rock concert going on. And I don't know, like I said, I don't want to sound too I don't know, precious on the streaming side of things, but it just seems to me like for older games that aren't designed with streaming in mind, I can see using more copyrighted music just because nobody knows any better. Now streaming is a thing; it's actually part of the marketing strategy for games, and so I don't understand why you would. Like, if you have the option to hire someone to make original music for you, or to basically treat it like, a TV commercial, and, pay someone to someone's existing music, it just seems to me like it's more cost effective to, hire someone unknown and have people like get it. Like, so I don't know that band at for the end credits of Mass Effect. Like, I'd never heard of them except for Mass Effect, and like obviously I checked them out because it's a really good song at the end of both the first and the third games. So imagine if Tony Hawk launched with a streamer mode. I never even thought of that example. I actually haven't really played Tony Hawk, so but I like obviously everybody knows what that game is, so. Okay, the Emperor. The Emperor represents patriarchal control, and he is pleased with the authority and power he possesses to shape the future. The Emperor makes the rules and enforces them for the common good, but prestige has its dark sides. The Emperor is dominating and ruthless, and will climb over a mountain of bodies to achieve his aim. So, like I said, I am way too chatty. When I'm sleepy, so excuse me. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna get some tea. I probably have to refill the kettle. So, and it's cold out, so I know my. It's probably gonna take a while to boil. So I'm gonna take a small break. If you have not done so yourself, I'd encourage you maybe to get a stretch and grab a glass of water yourself. I'll try to keep it as short as I can, but I'm just going to go, boil the water, get the thing made. I'm not going to split it up just because I can actually... I think, honestly, I'm just going to, like, do a couple laps around my apartment and just generally try to get myself back to consciousness. But we should be good for another hour or so. So... I will, I'll see you all in a little bit. I'm going to run ads, so that's another great reason to go run screaming from the monitor. Anyways, I'll try not to make this longer than it has to be, but I am going to make sure like I have a proper break rather than try to do it piecemeal, because I always feel like I'm messing up whenever I kind of go away and come back and go away. But I'll see you all in a little bit. All right, sorry about that. T's got a steep, but we're good to get some other things done. So, let's figure out some tasks. So, we've got a couple of gigs. Well, this is a side job, so let's maybe move on to that one first. I don't know where the Beat the Brat missions are. But yeah, City Center and Haywood seem to have some things going on, so maybe what I can do is I can work my way up to the last vehicle, and then we go to do a story mission. One of the worst things about my sort of little tea breaks are that with the temperature being what it is, like the way I've got my streaming set up, I'm like right beside some windows. So it's not the best, like even if I have the heat on, I'm probably going to be warmer if I'm like in bed or if I'm like deeper into the apartment than at my computer. So one of the things that I've noticed is that, you know, I'll boil the water, I'll dunk the tea bag into the boiling water, and like my first instinct is to, oh god, we're gonna have to listen to this again.
But they are not human, no. But then what, you ask? Reptilians! You can recognize them by their cold blue eyes. Creatures born centuries ago on the Antarctic ice sheet. They hide their true faces under masks of human skin.
If it's such a big giveaway, won't they just install optics? Or use contact lenses at least?
If it were only so...
Why not have their own?
Are you And where did this filth slither out from, you ask?
Antarctica, you said that already.
Today they hide amidst the snow and ice of the South Pole. Step by step, usurping our crown as creation's chosen. Millions of years ago, they evolved from the dinosaurs.
What the hell was I gonna say? Yeah, so anyways, my first impulse, once I have my my hot water and the tea, is to drink it as soon as, like, immediately after, which is kind of defeats the purpose of the tea part of the tea. It's easier if I make coffee. If you try and do that with coffee, you get grounds in your teeth, and you will never ever want to do that again.
You don't know me, but you will. Name's Dino. Deal with downtown, city center.
V.
Yeah, I know. Heard about you. Hot stuff. Need anything, you call me. Remember, Dino knows everybody.
By the way, you're welcome to swing by anytime. Club's always open if you need it. Need a stiff drink. Electric Orgasm. Can't miss it.
Hey, a little bit ago, a tiger claw called for help, attacked by a certain Aki. At least that's what they call the rogue tiger hunter. He's been picking off his own in silent but spectacular fashion. My gut says this Aki had a cyber-psychotic break, but I'd like to know for sure. Don't kill him if you don't have to, and don't forget to watch your back.
So who is this? Just the thugs. I'm assuming that they're gonna die as soon as I see them. Phantom of Night City, unresponsive, no pulse, body sustains severe injuries with a sharp-edged weapon. Let's try and get a ping and see if we can find out what's going on.
Where are you hiding?
And they can see me. Oh, come on. Run for your lives! I'm wondering if there's a way for me to get on the other side of them. It usually takes a lot to get the to break out of the combat. Okay, so here I'm gonna wait to get my camo back. Oh, I'm almost certainly cooked. No, maybe not. Oh crap! He's too strong! So I'm gonna have to get better with my cyberware if I want to come out of this alive. Jesus Christ! So I'm almost wondering if I need to rebuild my deck again because it feels like I didn't have any options available to me. No, they're there. Good God. Okay. If we're going to do this, we got to do it melee, or I need to get a lot better at my thing. I'm guessing this is probably an enemy I'm supposed to be taking on later, but let's see if we can handle him with our very mature weapon. Ow. Ugh. So I'm trying to do that properly timed. I'm trying to do those properly timed blocks, but maybe it's better for me to just do a standard block and go to town once we have the opening. This guy's definitely a lot tougher than I should be taking on. Yikes. Jesus. All right, so I mean as far as the back and forth was concerned, that was all right. I think I did actually get hit again by trying to time the parry, which I should know better than to try it this time. That's fine, we'll figure it out. It's not the worst thing in the world to get some practice, although, again, to be completely honest, I really wish I had a better melee weapon. Oh, come on. Shoot the... Yike. I was trying to blow up the... explosive while I was close to it. I'm sure that was clear and I didn't need to tell you that, but... that did much. Wow. Okay. I forgot there's the heavy attacks to break your stance. So I know the game tries to reward you for doing proper parries and all of that, but I'm increasingly of the opinion that just keeping the distance between you and the enemy is the right way to go on this. Especially because this seems to have some kind of a stagger. Never mind. All right, maybe I should be Maybe I should be trying something a little bit more my speed. I'm trying to figure out if this is a function of the difficulty that I set, or if there are, like, if there are just parts of the city that I shouldn't be messing with yet. Like, if the city center is sort of intended to be a later game sort of a thing. When you stopped playing, it felt like every mission you could find was out of your league. Yeah, I don't know, like, it's kind of weird. Like, I do like the fact that it doesn't give you the sort of map like you'll see in an MMO. Also, hi, Cree. Thank you for the messages regarding the Exile playthrough, because, as you know, I was feeling a little uncertain about how people would react to them. So I do kind of like that they don't treat it like an MMO, where it's like, this is the high, you know, the high-level player area. Like, it's kind of nice that you're able to explore Night City on your own. But I'm not entirely sure it's all that much of an improvement if there's sort of de facto, like, high-level sections. And the way you find out is sort of by getting your ass handed to you over and over again. Maybe we'll try whacking him into the... Both waving around like idiots. I'll try and direct him to the other explosives, but it's not cooperative. Whoa! Jesus, are you kidding me? You know what? I got nothing to prove here. I think I need to handle this. I think I need to handle the Cyber Psycho at another time. Obviously, one way or another, we were able to get the drop on them, but it definitely wasn't enough to get us through the end. I'm also just a little conscious of how much time I have left, so I figure I might as well spend that time. I feel like I need a new car soon. But yeah, I'm just kind of conscious of the amount of time that I have left to do stuff, so why sort of bang my head against a challenge that I might be better equipped for later. Yeah, I think the point I was trying to make was just that, like, it seems that there are different there's different difficulty levels, and it's nice that you are given an opportunity to explore stuff on your own. So, like, you know, you'll see the skulls here. But yeah, the problem is that if in the end you're just like all that there's different levels as part of the city, and the only difference here is that you're learning about the difficulty through getting beaten. I'm not necessarily sure that's any different or much of an improvement over just having a more explicit sort of, what is it, zoning system or whatever it's called?
What weapon? Understood. Got it. Sure.
But I don't know, maybe I'm just cranky about losing. Oh, there's a couple places in Vancouver that look a lot like this. This is a really nice part of...
It is hard to achieve peace if there is a demon never leaving. Contemplation is like the silence in the eye of the storm. You start to fade. You have no strong roots to this world. You are losing touch with yourself. You must purify yourself, regain your equilibrium. I can help you. Sit down.
Okay, I'm listening.
In the city, you are cut off from nature. Metal, concrete canyons, neon eyes. The filth of the world suffocates you.
Sure isn't no Zen garden.
You must become still. Restore the bond within yourself. You are the source. All which you must do is draw from it. Are you ready?
I want specifics. What's in it for me?
Self-fulfillment. You shall hear your voice, and only yours. All else will become silent.
A little more specific than that.
You cannot exile yourself from your own life.
I'll give it a shot. Why not?
I will give you a meditative brain dance that will liberate your consciousness.
Give me?
You can pay me however much you wish.
This should cut it.
Very well. The initial techniques of meditation are best undertaken with supervision. Let us begin. I will guide you.
I was wondering if we'd get to do another one of these.
This is a meditation of the earth element. Spirit of nature, Mother Earth, I send you greetings. We are of one blood. I am you. You are me. O Mother Earth, I and all other creatures from you created. Cleanse my body and soul from pain, sickness, impurity, and the negative energy from negative people, worlds, and dimensions. Give me the energy of life. Give me health, youth, wisdom, knowledge, strength, joy, happiness, and inner peace. We walk the earth, through meadows, nature in full bloom. We remove our shoes, feel our bare feet touch the soil. We absorb the earth's energy. We sense joy, tranquility, lightness, purity, our heart and soul. We walk the earth. A butterfly rests on blooming flower. Bees are gathering nectar. Warmth and joy surrounds us. Our legs absorb the earth's energy, filling every every cell of our bodies, our souls and spirits are cleansed. We thank you, Mother Earth, with our mind, body, and soul. There is no life without you or the other elements.
Hello?
I want my $144 back.
Nice vanishing trick.
So this reminds me quite a bit of it was a Dr. Sun Yat-sen garden in Vancouver. The verticality is not quite there. Like there was obviously a big stairway stairway we needed to go to get here, but definitely reminds me of Lives. Been a couple of times, one photographing, but two just kind of hanging out and enjoying the atmosphere. In case you haven't guessed, I really miss Vancouver. All right. So cyber psychos are off limits. A lot of very high danger jobs. So let's just get out of the center. This doesn't seem too bad. Actually, a number of these seem manageable. And apparently Pacifica is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Westbrook, especially because this is Wakako's... Yeah. Wakako's territory, so... That's a more familiar face to us anyway. So yeah, probably what I should have been paying a little more attention to is the warnings about very high difficulties on the individual jobs. I don't know if the Cyber Psycho was listed as that. Well, you know what? When I get commanded to do stuff, it makes me want to stop streaming. So what I'm going to do now is we're all going to enjoy a moment of silence while I work on data. And if you all want to know who's responsible for why this is only going to be a 3-hour stream, you can check chat. Okay, data work's done. Technically, I only really have 6 minutes left on the stream, but I'll try to get at least this mission done. Should probably get my car, though. Thank you, Degree. Hey, fully repaired. You know, given the cost of this vehicle, I'm a little surprised at its performance. I quite like it. I'm curious how the bike's going to turn out, but I can see myself using this a little more often. Show my appreciation by taking care of it.
You seem rather lost.
You again.
Too many agents of chaos, overwhelmed by discontent.
You again.
Did you enjoy our first meditation?
Where'd you vanish to?
Someone else needed me.
Yeah, I felt good as new after.
Deep contemplation must be regular in order to yield results. One drop of rain shall not quench your thirst. Would you like to try again?
Well, how much for another one?
That is for you to decide.
Should be enough.
Good. I will watch over you during the meditation. This is a meditation of the water element. We are in the forest.
I don't know if it's supposed to be this choppy or not. I wonder if I escape and then go back.
I send you greetings. 80% of our flesh and blood is made of you. Oh, what a mystery you are, spirit of water. One moment you are liquid, the next you are ice, another you are snow, vapor, and fog. 1 minute you heal, the next you drown. Wash me of sickness, pain, the impurity of my body and soul, the negative energy of negative people, worlds, and dimensions. Give me youth, wisdom, knowledge, health, strength, joy, happiness, and lasting inner peace. draw the spirit of water into ourselves. Together, we are one body. We are water. We are the ones who flow over the waterfall's edge. We thank you, Spirit of Water, with our mind, body, and soul. There is no life without you. We honor the beauty hidden within you and the other elements.
Yeah, so that's a weird one to get a read on, for the simple reason that, like, when you... So, like, obviously when you jump between the inventory and the main game, you... you know, there's a big lag that happens, and you know the game's gotten better since it first came out, but it really did struggle with movement across the city. But what's weird about those brain dances, like, I am wondering if it is a specific decision that they've made in terms of a certain visual style for it, for the simple reason that, like, you can't move your head during that at all. So it's a fixed perspective. There's plenty of time to sort of stream the level in. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening. Like, it really does seem to be something that's struggling to render. So again, if it's a stylistic choice, it's one that sort of... It's confusing in the context of a video game. I don't mind it. It's a bit... I'm not 100% sure why it's in the game, to be honest with you, but like... it's enjoyable enough to sit in it, and I'm not going to sit down and be like, oh my god, why isn't my awesome rig rendering the game? Like, you know, this stuff happens. But I'm kind of confused by it. Although it does remind me when there's, I think it's Jeff Gagne. He used to work at DICE. I think he's at Ubisoft now. But he was the one who was responsible for the prologue for Battlefield 5, where they basically go into every theater of World War II. Actually, sorry, that's not true. I don't think they had a Pacific element. But other than that, like, it goes from everywhere from the air to, you know, Northern Africa, France. It's this real showstopper of an opening. I found out there's a limited amount of space that they had to do that, because apparently it's supposed to be played while the rest of the game downloads, and there's some very specific guidelines in terms of how large those prologue elements can be. And again, it's one of these things where you are jumping between environments very rapidly, so you can't be loading different levels. It's actually one very carefully created level. Basically, you're kind of you're teleporting to different parts of this like regular Battlefield map. It was really neat to sort of see his breakdown of how that worked. Particularly because I didn't appreciate some of the budgetary requirements. Not like dollar budget, but just hardware. So to see something like that and then see a moment like this where I'm like, is this supposed to look like this, or is this the game sort of struggling to show it? It's just one of those things that sort of pulls me out of it.
Just like last time.
Okay, so I think I'm actually gonna go back to the safety of Watson. This does mean I go a little bit over, but if it winds up being a long mission, I'll probably just wrap it up and host someone. Especially because I still have to do my writing for tonight, but I have some more files that I need to migrate. I have, again, the writing to do, and I could really stand with a proper sleep. I seemed like I did okay for the last 2 nights, but I do feel like the preceding week where I was not doing well is still kind of catching up with me. I also think it's one of these things where I can, like, usually if I have to, I can sort of power through it, but I don't feel good. And especially when it comes to, like, gaming stuff, and I know I've kind of got the weekend ahead of me, which is going to be pretty full. There's just something about the idea of, you know, burning the midnight oil so I can play a video game a little bit longer.
Still?
Guys, virus in my core. Damaged. Please. Please.
V, got a simple, clean-cut gig. Need you to zero someone who's been extorting regular, hard-working folks. Our public enemy's name is Blake, and he is one slippery motherfucker. More info on him and his MO attached.
We're at Blake's, and WTF you bothering me for? 'Cause here, T, fuck off. Here, they got an ingredient for juice. Lidocaine. You fucking piss brains. It might come in handy. Then take it! Should we ask Blake first? 'Cause it's like his. Ask your dick if it's got balls. Probably get the ones... No? Keep forgetting I've got the better deck now. Okay, so breach protocol and ping. Although I could be lucky and... Oh yeah, no, that guy's basically in a perfect spot. So I'll still ping, but... Ah, crap. is a problem. So they all have to start with 55. There might have been a better way of doing that, but... should be able to handle it. Might chuck that guy in the trunk, maybe?
Okay.
Oh, no need.
Then tell him it's time to pay up. He's gonna beat you for life. Tell him it was the... Yes, sir, right away.
Can't remember if I can fit. Yeah, I can fit more than one. I am kind of lucky there aren't people upstairs because I didn't really check all that carefully.
You got your cash cow. You're set for life.
Alright, so before I... Car's waiting. Yeah, so before I drag him out, I might as well empty the place. I tend not to come... Like, I always want to come back to places, but I very rarely actually deliver. I'm pretty sure I've read this one. Yes, this is the first... This is the one we read on the first scav mission. From Roger Wang to Blake Croyle. You're joking. I didn't borrow any from you. We talked about a loan, that's all. Roger, time is money, and mine ain't cheap. I gave you business advice, a service that isn't charity. One more thing, could you pass along my warm regards to your daughter and congratulate her on her pregnancy? I'm sure you're really excited to be a grandpa. Your daughter's got a fine place in Kabuki too, a real bright future ahead of her. Okay, I understand, take the money, already sent your way. And don't you dare ever go near my family again. Sheesh, Raj, no need to get nasty. You hurt my feelings. You know what? As far as what you sent, it ain't enough. Silly you forgot the interest. But actually, I just thought for a quick and convenient way for you to put a ribbon on this thing. Give me that little shop of yours in Kabuki and we're all square. Only this time I could do without the attitude. I authorized you in the system. It's yours. I'm assuming the messages are going to be the same in... I also think we read this one. This one I'm not sure on, though, so if you're a dance head like us, don't miss out on Lizzie's. You'll find no better brain dance club in the city, no matter how deep you dig. Modern boxes, solid tech, but most importantly, the catalog, chock full of nearly any XP you can imagine. You'll find everything that you need to get you off, fast or slow, nasty or classy, and everything in between. Don't let the girls at the front door scare you off or kill your buzz. They're wary of newcomers, but once you get in, they'll treat you like one of their own. Trust us, give Lizzie's a try, and you'll never go anywhere else. Now, the afterlife? That's a different story. Sure, you can cut loose and have a good time there, but the afterlife is a place of business above all else. Want to meet a fixer about a job that needs doing? Discuss important gig details with a client over drinks? Or maybe just sit back and people watch to see comings and goings of the NC Underworld's biggest merc and fixer names. The afterlife is a great place for all of the above. The only place, really. If you're looking for the city's marquee events, you'll find yourself at Riot. Chart-topping playlists, live performances from the brightest stars, both local and from around the world, DJ battles, unique music shows, and media-packed album premieres. Sound like your scene? Don't miss out on Riot. My beloved debtors. Adam Allen, Ripper gave away med equipment. Need to let it slide now or my chum will hang himself. Roger Wang, shop owner. Lots of meds and med equipment. Has his own network. Need to drain quick before the supply goes dry. James Spears, guy from the restaurant. Stubborn. Sent some pets to break his legs. Lily Mills, model. Has to give up her apartment. Unaffected by threats made to mother. Should make good on the threat anyway. Prove our agency means biz. We did that, and need someone to watch your back? Animals are alpha. Danger prowls Night City. Got a stalker on your tail? Hired iron out for your blood. Some freak giving you crooked looks and bad vibes? Or maybe you're just looking to pad your personal security. The animals got your back. Survival of the fittest. It's the only law that matters in Night City. You hire us, we show your enemies just what that means. We'll protect you, your home, your workplace, your property. Hell, we're even happy to knock on a few doors if necessary. Become king of the jungle, choose animals. Alright. And got the Eddies, man, on our way. Anything spicy for us to start with? Butte down? Curb stomp? You're just watching for now. Look tough, guard me. Sounds like a snooze job. Occasionally pop a knee, or deal with someone's wife, husband, kid, whatever. Nothing too complicated. Now that's more interesting. Should have started with that. I'm tempted to get technical ability up, but I also remember, yeah, so I've been over-investing in technical ability for the simple reason that, I've probably been able to hack most, if not all, of the doors that would normally require technical ability. So I'm trying to get a little bit better at that. It's not like I don't have the points to upgrade. It's just, it would be nice if I can put that towards some of the other things. So like body is a good example of something I might want to put some more points into. For the simple reason that usually if you need to open something with body, it's because it's not connected to power. And then, of course, if I put it in intelligence, then I'm a better hacker, and that has its own benefits. So I need to find a way to get to a E9 from a BD, and none of the obvious ones work. So, so I did BD 1C. That seems like it's good up until you get to the BD, and then there's no E9 path. I did BD, BD, 1C, BD, E9. Okay, actually, that might work. I'm assuming there's got to be something on the roof, and it's still telling me there's a... maybe E9, 1C... Okay. The larger buffers actually kind of feels like more of a liability, for the simple reason that I'm so used to, like, so used to just trying to figure out the one, and then, you know, essentially what I kind of need to do is just see what the last position is, make a decision in terms of whether or not I can pursue one of the other ones. But now that I have a larger buffer, I actually need to think by default kind of about capturing 2 or 3, and I just have so much more flexibility. Hey Shalakor, how you doing? Yeah, I should just warn you, I'm getting close to wrapping up, so I'm sorry we won't get as much of a chance to catch up, but I really appreciate you stopping by. How have you been?
Target bagged. Closing the gig.
there anything? Oop. It's all good. I saw you were live. It's been good. How'd the Dwarf Stellaris game? Oh man, that is a long time. I'm trying to remember. I think the dwarves had a win. There were a couple that there's a couple of games that sort of beat me down. But Mondays have been focused a lot on some Hooded Horse games lately, so I've been doing a lot of Terra Invicta. I really like that. The new Old World DLC came out, so oops.
I smell a rat.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to peel them off one at a time, but... Oop. Wrong one. I want to be kind of careful of the civilians. But yeah, no. So the new Old World DLC is quite good, especially just because Old World is so focused on the ancient world, and so as a result, some of the role-playing elements and the role-playing elements combined with religion, I think, work particularly well together. So I talk about this quite a bit, but like one of the films I quite enjoy is The Last Temptation of Christ. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's Willem Dafoe plays Jesus. You know, I'm something of a messiah myself. But I wonder if... So I'm curious how good the optical camo is. Yeah, just walk right through them. But yeah, like I particularly like that film just because it does a really good job of creating the impression of sort of a world where miracles are sort of one of these things that like people sort of feel like can happen on a regular basis, and you know, the idea that there's not just a messiah, that there's actually a number of people who are these very significant religious figures that are sort of coming up, and like it's a view of sort of the ancient world and a lot of, you know, Bible stories, let's say, and they don't have sort of these nice Renaissance painting qualities. Like John the Baptist's group looks like this insane hippie colony, which you'd be very reluctant to join. And I think that Old World in particular, more so than the Paradox games, is very well suited to sort of capture those kinds of feelings, and the way just kind of the way the interactions work. I think make it a very suitable setting, very suitable topic for the extra DLC. So, as with pretty much any game, it does take me a while to kind of get through everything, but I really enjoy it. You definitely can shoot around walls. It's you need a certain type of weapon, and you also need to have the cyberware for it. But the ricochet mechanic actually is a little bit better. So the thing was, I liked the idea of the ricochet, but I always sort of felt that it was a little too gimmicky, that it was really hard to use in combat. But it turns out... Alright, no, they're serious. Doing nothing to them, so. Oh, interesting. Okay. Instead of doing this mission, I am going to finish these guys off. But yeah, so once I found out that you get a little bit of guidance for the ricochets when there's enemies in the area, I actually began to appreciate the mechanic quite a bit more. Oh, neat. Yeah, either the range is too long, my aim is too bad, or something's getting in the way. So just go from cover to cover. And didn't take as long as I thought, so maybe we will. Maybe we'll help the cheetah after all. But yeah, so I've not seen the anime. I know it's come up pretty much every time that I play this, but I got a lot of stuff to do. I like watching stuff, and I want to get familiar with it, but I have no idea when I'm going to get around to it. I really need to make this the last one.
빨리 좀 하면 안 돼?
I'll be honest, I didn't want to write the book, but they paid me, so here it is. Well, actually, it was written by a ghostwriter. Hey, Jake. Just kidding. I haven't lost all my self-respect. Not yet. So, who even reads books nowadays? I thought people only brought them to decorate their apartments. At least that's what I do. By the way, wouldn't it be better to just get rid of shelves altogether? Something to think about. So where was I? Oh, right. So the publisher told me they want to publish my autobiography. Do I have any questions? Of course, I asked them if I could swear like a drunken sailor, the drunken sailor I am, and they said, sure, we'll see. Shit, fuck, cunt-licking asshole. Hey, it works! Now that's over with, let's move on. You might have seen me on TV, where I host a satirical show called Info Flash. It's a pretty sweet gig. Once a week, I get to read smarmy jokes off a teleprompter, written by our interns, and they pay me more than you make in a year. Isn't capitalism fabulous? All right, but how did I get here, you ask? Simple. One of my dad's colleagues was a showrunner at N54 News, and suddenly I found myself going around with a coffee pot. Refills, anyone? It was all unpaid, of course. Apart from that, there wasn't much to do. So you could usually find me out back, taking one of my 100 or so daily smoke breaks. For some reason, people thought I was funny. Somehow that shit came out of my mouth made the grown men cry with laughter. So they plopped me down in front of a camera, and I just kind of winged it from there. How did I get where I am? Well, or sorry, how do you get where I am? Well, you can't, because your dad doesn't have a showrunner friend at N54, and it's not like they're going to pluck some rando off the street. Don't you know people like me aren't supposed to rub shoulders with bottom feeders like you? Oh, and did I already mention that capitalism is fabulous? Okay, so maybe I should take a look at what the briefing is for this. Scourge of Kabuki. Racketeer is the name of the game in Kabuki. The badges pretend like they don't see where when hustlers like Blake reel in the next victim. The script's always the same. Act 1, a promising money deal. Act 2, an unpayable debt. The sucker this time was Roger Wang, store chain owner. Blake's already seized ownership of one of his stores, but he has bigger plans. Like I said, this kind of debt's unpayable, so Wang got wise and paid us instead. This human shit stain, Croyle, is about to disappear, so the time is to act is now. One more thing, Blake's got hustle from the animals watching his back. Phantom of the Night, tigers are starting to think some vengeful spirit or demon is hunting them. I wouldn't rule out the supernatural just yet, but I suspect there's a more rational explanation on hand. Surely the... Here we go. Longbow. You know that classic comedy setup where Gonk gets in serious trouble and only some like misanthropic hard-ass can save him? Well, let that be your guiding plot for today. The Gonk in question is called Huangbo. He did some small-time work for the Tiger Claws, but instead of keeping his head down and being patient, he took a shortcut and stole from his own gang. Genius, right? Not only that, but the whole thing had his name written all over it. Huangbo's marked for death, meaning he has to disappear. The faster the better. I already found a nomad smuggler, but someone still needs to get him from one end of the city to the other. But if he's spotted on the street, the Tiger Claws will know about it. You know what you gotta do, right? So let's get to it. He's holed up somewhere in the hotel on Martin. Okay, we are going to take all his stuff. As soon as I can, anyway. E9, 1C, E9. 1C, 1C. So 1C, 1C, but I don't get a 55. So I could try a 55, 55, 55.
빨리 결정해.
It's not gonna let me do anything till I talk to him.
You Huangbo?
그래. 근데 다들 날 치타라고 불러. 내가 또 치타처럼 존나 빠르거든.
Nobody calls you that. How'd you get here?
야, 차 타고 왔지. 걸어왔겠냐? 이 근처에 주차해뒀어.
Let me do the driving.
BD 1C E9. Well, you know, let's start with that. And there's no 1C here, so... Oh, I really blew this one. Hey, no worries, Jalakor. I appreciate the thought nonetheless. I also appreciate you hanging out. I like reminding people I don't take attendance, but I always appreciate it when people... I always kind of appreciate it when people just sort of stop in just to say hi.
Do I look blind or deaf to you? Shut your trap if you don't... Nice talking to you.
I'm at the motel. Martin, please hurry. The tigers are already here. And, okay, we don't need to worry about those.
Shut your trap if you don't want to eat lead.
Okay, there's one of them. Yeah, looking forward to it. I hope you have a good night, good sleep, because I need to get there myself soon. So where I can, I want to try and get the optional wins. I'm pretty sure I can take out the Tiger Claws if I have to. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I did want to at least get the tag on them so I could see the direction. My next best... Okay, nope, they turned around, so... Subtle. I probably could have just used my... probably could have just hacked that, but...
씨발. 어우, 존나 아슬아슬했는데 그래도 우리가 해냈어.
We. If it wasn't for me, you'd be a stain on a motel floor.
아이, 넌 별명 같은 거 없어?
Nope.
그럼 이참에 뭐라도 생각해놔.
Is that...
Didn't really give us a chance to go through the dialogue, did it?
Okay, we're here. Get out.
야, 잠깐만. 아, 근데 저 새끼들 믿어도 돼? 너 가면 내 콩팥 떼가고 그러는 건 아니지?
Reggie hired and direct. Ran the spec herself.
알았어, 알았다고. 아, 내리면 되잖아. 그리고 모텔에서 도와줘서
Flawless work, V. Huangbo thinks your nickname should be the Furious Lion, so I guess he's happy. Closing the gig, sending you the cred.
Okay, I think that's it for tonight. I did notice someone who I like to host when I can, but I don't normally see them online at this hour. Is on. Let me just see if they're still around. If not, we've got a few options tonight. So, but thank you all for watching. I will hopefully be back. So I have a lot ahead of me on the weekend, but Monday we should be back for more Old World. Wednesday, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. I'll probably do Industries of Titan again, because I did rush to finish. I did rush to finish Titan, but that was because I knew that the the game, the session that I was running would not be sorry, the session that I was running would not be compatible with 1.0. So it kind of feels like I should be doing 1.0 Titan. I didn't do early access so long just so I could not play it when it got a full release. As for next Friday, I do want to keep that open. Now, it has been Cyberpunk for the last little while. I'm not necessarily opposed to Cyberpunk, but I would like to get back to Against the Storm at some time. Maybe we want to try and fit in Terra Invicta in that window as well. And then, as I said, there's other stuff that I've wound up picking up. So, you know, I like MechWarrior 5. I haven't done that on stream, and there's new DLC out for that, which I now own. And then, Dead Space Remake, which I've got on my computer, and I don't know if I want to stream that or what. But we'll figure it all out. You can all let me know what you're interested in. But IntelliGame is hosting tonight. I was a little surprised to see him up at this hour, but he is playing Slay the Spire, which I believe is a popular one among you all. So I hope you will stick around. He's a kind of an indie-focused streamer. I think he's actually had some kind of a background in game development at some point, but I'm not 100% sure what. And I actually found him through the Vitran, who is a, just overall wonderful person, but a major kind of originally kind of major community manager, but is now communications director for Innersloth, so is the one responsible for not just launching the Twitter account for Among Us, but also the TikTok. Definitely somebody who's sort of at the vanguard of that. In any case, IntelliGame is a nice and thoughtful streamer. I know it's a little bit of a change of pace for Cyberpunk, but like I said, I know a number of you are big fans of Slay the Spire, so he feels like a safe choice to host for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'll see some of you Monday, some of you in a week, and one way or another, I hope you have a nice weekend. Take care.